Hello children, today we shall learn in details how the directory rules came into France after the fall of Jacobins Club. So in our previous videos lectures, my dear children, we have learned that when there was a revolutions which happened in France, the peoples of France, the common people, they seized the power of the monarchy and they established the republic systems. And when they established the republic systems, we see the Jacobin clubs who is coming into power. And when the Jacobins club is coming into power, we see the leaders of the Jacobins clubs, the Maximilien Robespierre, who is becoming the executive member of the government. He is becoming the one-man executive members in the government. And when he came into powers, he introduced many good things in the society. They are such as giving voting rights to each and every sections of the society who are above 21 years of age. Second, he made the availability of food grains to each and every sections of the society within a very minimum prices. Third, when he came into powers, he used to keep favor to the peoples, but during his ruling period, he ruled the society in a very different ways, and that is that if anyone is against the republic government, or if anyone is not at all willing to be agree with his ideologies, those persons will be beheaded. Those persons were beheaded, or those persons were killed. So according to his extremism policy, he was having unpopularity in the society. At the initial period, peoples enjoyed their life, but when he ruled the society by giving severe punishments regarding disobeying his law, disobeying his ideology, he used to punish them very severely. And during his ruling period, we see there are several kind of enemies. They are such as ex-nobles, the clergy, these landlords. Those peoples were not at all agree with his ideas, so he used to see them as their enemy. So when he ruled the society in a very different ways, that is what known as giving severe punishments to those people who are disobeying his ideology, he used to punish them very badly. So due to his extremism method, or due to his extremism ideology, he got unpopularity and he was executed, or he was killed by peoples only due to his extremism ideology during the time of 1792 to 1794. Because 1792 to 1794, we see the period of the new government, that is known as the Jacobin government. So dear children, after the fall of the Jacobins government, due to these severe punishments, we see the new wealthier sections of the society who are coming into power. And when these wealthier middle classes, when they are coming into powers, they are framing a new constitutions for the France society. That means after this fall of the Jacobins clubs, we see the directory rules which is coming into being. And when these wealthier middle classes are coming into power, they are framing a new constitutions, and according to that constitutions, they are giving voting rights to the wealthy peoples who are having more wealth in the society. That means they are following the old method of giving voting rights to the wealthier peoples in the society. And here the poor peoples who are given voting rights during the time of Jacobins clubs, those people's rights were rejected by the new wealthier middle classes who are coming into power. And here, according to these new systems of government, we see that there is a two elected legislative councils. So here again they develop a new systems, and what is that? They are providing two elected legislative councils. And after providing the two elected legislative councils, we see there is an appointment of the directory executives, which is made of 5 members. So dear children, already I have told you that during the Jacobins clubs or during the Jacobins government, the peoples of France, they learned that when the power is resting in one man executive, then it is really very difficult to providing very effective rule in the society, because when the power was resting in one executive head during the government of Jacobins, we see that the Maximilian Robespierre, he ruled the society in a very severe ways, in which the peoples were badly punished. So in order to give one powers to one executive, the peoples they are appointing a new directory rules, and in the new directory rules there is an executive which are made of 5 members, because during the period of this Jacobins government, the peoples of France, they already learned that if the power is concentrated in one executive, then there is misuses of power, because Robespierre, he ruled the society in a very severe ways, and that is the reasons the peoples of France, they are making the 5 executive members. That means the power is not resting in one executive, rather than there is a executive of 5 members. And the past mystics which had taught them a new lessons to make the 5 executives who are under the control of these directory executives, which is made of 5 members here. So dear children, here we see that when these new executives which are made of these 5 members, then during that time we understand that these directors, the executive directors as well as the legislative councils, they were often having clashing each other. They were fighting each other, because when these executives were willing to implement some things, during that time there was an opposition from these legislative councils. So due to these clashing each other with these two groups, these two legislative councils, the political instability that was found in France, because we see the directors, they are fighting each other. Why they are fighting each other? Because both these groups, they are willing to implement something differently. Whenever this executive is willing to implement something, during that time there is an opposition from these another councils, and when there was a clashing with each other, that created a political instability in France. And when the political instability was found in France, we see that those kind of situations, those kind of political instability situations, that created a way for the military dictator. So dear children, here when this directory rules, when it was going to be failure, during that time we understand that a new systems is coming into rising. That is what we see, the military dictator, which is none other than by Napoleon Bonaparte. So here when this directory rules seems to be failure. Why it seems to be failure? Due to political instability, due to not having proper cooperations with each other, where we see the two elected legislative councils. These two legislative councils, they are often clashing each other, because they have a different ideas to implement, and when their ideas are not having one, during that time those two councils are fighting each other, and when they are fighting each other, that is leading to the fragmentations of the directory rules which came into being after 1794. So my dear children, let's have the recapitulations. So in today's video lectures we see that after the fall of the Jacobins clubs, we see the power has been occupied by the new middle classes, because after the fall of the Jacobins government, the wealthier middle classes, they are seizing the powers and they are coming into power. They are ruling the societies, and when these wealthier new middle classes coming into power, they are changing the constitutions and giving voting rights to the wealthy peoples who has more wealth and who are giving more taxes to the government. And again they changes the systems of providing two elected legislative councils, and in these legislative councils we see that the executives are made of 5 members. And when these executives are made of 5 members, the power is not resting in one individuals. So dear children, already we have learned in previous classes how the judiciary, executive and legislative councils came into power. So here, when the executives are made of 5 members, the power is not concentrating in one individuals, rather than the power is distributed to all these executive heads in the society. Because during the time of Jacobins government, the one-man executives which had ruled the nations in a very severe ways, and due to these severe ways of punishment, we see the fall of the Jacobins clubs, and after the falling of the Jacobins clubs, we see the new directory rules who came into being after 1794. And here, when there is a two councils, they are known as executives and legislative councils. Often they were clashing each other, and when they were clashing each other, when they were fighting each other, during that time the political instability which found in France, and when the political instability found in France, we see the rising of the new military dictator. So when the political stability was not there, when peoples were not cooperating each other, during that time, those political instability that created a way for the military dictator. So with this political instability, dear children, here we understood that Napoleon Bonaparte, who is the military dictator coming into power, and he is ruling the society. Thank you so much, my dear children, for listening to me.